A brand new poll shows Donald Trump is crushing Joe Biden in the state of Texas. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today it is time to talk about the 2024 presidential election because everyone, a brand new poll was released out of the state of Texas, and just like every poll we have seen this cycle, Donald Trump is beating Joe Biden by a lot. Not by 1 point, not by even 5 or 6, no. He is beating Biden by 12 points in the state of Texas. Remember how Democrats promised that this is the year that Texas will finally flip Democrat? Well, it appears that's not going to happen. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now let us get into it. Former President and Republican nominee Donald Trump leads President Biden by 12 percentage points among likely voters in Texas, according to brand new polling from the Texas Hispanic Policy Foundation. Yeah, he is beating Biden by 12 points. You know, in a state that he carried by only 5.5. Yeah, Trump is up by 12. That is more than he won back in 2016. Now, granted, there are quite a bit of undecideds. We will get to the rest of the poll in a second, but even then, right now, Trump is winning the state of Texas by 12 points. And if you allocated these undecideds, let's just assume that the vast majority go towards Biden. Even in that scenario, Trump would still win the state of Texas quite easily. More surprising, however, is Trump's strength with Hispanic likely voters, where he leads Biden by 4 percentage points, 41% to 37%, driven largely by evangelical Hispanics and Hispanic males. You heard that right. That wasn't a misquote. That wasn't, a mistake. Trump is winning, according to this poll, Hispanic voters by 4 points in the state of Texas. I understand that, what is that, like 20% are undecided? I understand that. But even then, Trump is cracking 40% with Hispanic voters in the state of Texas. Just look back at 2020. In the state of Texas, Trump got 37%. According to exit polls, which, they can be off, but this seems to be about right. He got around 37% of the Hispanic vote back in 2020. This poll has him at 41. So even if you give every single undecided voter to Biden, like every single one of them, Trump would still be outrunning his number back in 2020 by a couple points. That alone, especially with that margin with white voters. I mean, Trump won them by like 35 points back in 2020. If Trump does roughly the same with white voters and he's doing just even a couple points better with Hispanics, Biden mathematically cannot win the state of Texas at that point. This is a disaster for him. I mean, there's no way to put it. This is a complete and total disaster for Joe Biden. If he's really only at 37% with them, and Trump's already at 41%. Solely with respect to the Hispanic oversample, the survey maintains a margin of error of 4.8%, making the Hispanic data the most detailed in Texas. So that's for the people that are going to say, well, this number right here is fake because margin of error. Yes, it does have a larger margin of error because it is a smaller sample. Of course, that's what's going to happen. But they purposefully oversampled Hispanics because they wanted to see what's really going on here. Is Trump really doing that much better with Hispanic voters? And right now, Trump is leading them by 4. Yes, it's within the margin of error. It's margin of error 5 points. We'll just round up. It is 5 points. Trump's up by 4. So theoretically, Biden could be up by 1. That's still not good. Even in that scenario, That's a 20-point swing. If we just assume Biden wins the Hispanic vote by 1 point in Texas, that's a 20-point swing in the state. So no matter what you say about, well, margin of error, that doesn't explain what's happening here. Over the most recent election cycles, Texas Hispanics have shown a growing willingness to consider and ultimately vote for Republican candidates, especially at the presidential level. This, however, is the first time we have seen a Republican statewide candidate attract a majority of Texas' likely Hispanic voters. Trump's appeal to Hispanic evangelicals and men has helped him cobble together a level of support from Hispanics not seen since George W. Bush. Yeah, this is the first time they have ever seen this. This isn't a fluke. You don't have this, first time ever. That's a significant data point. This is the first time in their polling history, at least this one poll, that they showed a Republican, and it appears any statewide race, so including Greg Abbott's landslide victory back in 2018, including all those other statewide races. And as for George W. Bush, his number back in 2004 was inflated for two reasons. One, Hispanics in Texas voted for Bush because he was the former governor of the state. So his number with Hispanics nationwide was inflated. Yes, he did well with Hispanics considering, but the ones in Texas in particular inflated his number with Hispanics across the board. Because he was a well-liked governor, or at least at that point, former governor of the state, and people liked him. That's why they voted for him. But number two, and they actually touch upon this a little bit, evangelicals. Now, everyone, when they talk about evangelicals, talks about white evangelical voters. There are evangelicals that are Hispanic. They don't make up that large share of the vote, but they exist. What happened in 2004, and there's plenty of polling data to prove this, Hispanic evangelicals made up an unusually large share of the vote. Therefore, those voters are going to be more Republican. That's a fact. Evangelicals are much more Republican than Catholics, especially when it comes to Hispanics. That's why Bush did so good with them. For whatever reason, whether it was referendums, whether it was Bush running on banning gay marriage, whatever, these Hispanic voters that were evangelical turned out way more than usual, and therefore helped Bush's margin with the Hispanic vote. But even then, he did not win the Hispanic vote in Texas. Trump, however, is. Again, it's one poll, but even if he loses the Hispanic vote by a couple points, that's better than what Bush did back in 2004. That's why this poll, even just looking at the top lines, is a disaster for Biden. But the craziest thing about this margin for Trump is how he's doing it. So the poll actually had crosstabs for Hispanic voters. Like, okay, how are Hispanic women voting? How are Hispanic men voting, etc.? And firstly, Trump is winning Hispanic women while he's tied with Hispanic men. Granted, this is a much larger margin of error. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But look at age. Trump's strongest Hispanic voter is younger. I mean, he's winning independents by 6. With Hispanics, I should say. Religion, he's only losing Catholics by 7. They are far more Democrat than evangelicals, which he's winning by 43 points. But there are two things that strike me immediately. Look at generation. Trump is doing best, not with first generation, not with second generation Hispanics, or hell, not even third generation Hispanics. His best Hispanic voter on this front, at least, are immigrants. Yeah, you heard that right. Not people that were born here, not people that their grandparents immigrated here, no. It's people that immigrated to the United States of America. He is winning these voters by 15 points. His worst group, oddly enough, is third generation plus. Which means these voters, their families have lived here for generations, like 100 years. Which usually means that voter tends to be a bit more Republican. Not in this case. In this case, in fact, they're more Democrat. The most Democrat generation. And it's just crazy to think that. I mean, for years, everyone thought, all right, an immigrant's going to be much more Democrat, but their kids will be more Republican. And their grandchildren even more Republican, etc. But this poll right here shows not so much. It's actually immigrants and second-generation voters that Trump's doing best with. Now, to be clear, I don't think Trump's going to win immigrant voters by 15, let alone win them at all. But even then, this historically has been such a Democrat group. No matter the immigrant, the past 70 years, immigrants have been far more Democrat than first-generation voters, second-generation, etc. But in this poll, at least with Hispanic voters in Texas, Trump's strongest generation is with immigrants. And on top of that, look at language. Now, this question asks, all right, is there any Spanish spoken in your household? And usually that's the most Democrat Hispanic voter. Usually it's 90% vote Democrat if Spanish is spoken in their house. While English spoken only, bit more Republican. In this poll, Trump's tied. Yeah. With Spanish spoken households, that means people speak Spanish, there might be some English, but mostly Spanish. Trump's tied. With only English spoken, Trump's up by 13. And that demonstrates that no matter what type of Hispanic you are, an immigrant, first generation, born-again Christian, Roman Catholic, independent, it doesn't matter. At least in Texas, according to this poll, which, mind you, they oversampled Hispanics for this reason to figure out, is this real? According to this poll, Trump is doing better with every single Hispanic group. Now, does that mean he will win Hispanics in Texas by 4 points, let alone win them at all? No. But if he's doing this much better with every single group, these people outright denying the trends with Hispanics, they're delusional. Either way, this poll is very bad news for Biden because even if Democrats do much better with Hispanics than this poll claims, it would still be terrible compared to 2020, let alone 2016. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.